'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh. So, today I want to talk about collecting and why I still collect all this stuff you see behind me. And even though you only see the movies, sometimes the movie pops around and whatnot behind me, I also collect all my video games in person as well. I love the act of collecting. I just love the simple act of going to a store and being able to pick something out off the shelf. Kind of old school thinking, but also ordering online and having it come. Feels like it's Christmas Day. Every day you order something as like a little gift for yourself. But I also have other big reasons why I collect things. I collect movies and games, and I have some examples of reasons why I do such a thing. Let's just get into those. The first reason is because I love it. If you love a piece of art, a piece of media, you should own that thing. For example, Creed here. Creed is one of my favorite movies. I love this thing. I've seen this a lot. It's one of the most viewed movies I have. Right? I watch it all the time. It's very rewatchable. I love it. Owning this movie means that I love it that one step more. And that's not the same for everybody. You can love this movie as much as me and not own it physically. You can only stream it, whatever. But to me, being able to say, I own this. I own a copy of Creed. I can put it on the shelf. I can watch it whenever. It marks that I love it that much more. That I am apt to spend money to own the thing. And that's just the most simple reason. Another big reason as to why is because physical media gives me the ability to kind of, I don't want to say curate. Curate's a bit of a big word, kind of more important than what I'm doing here. It allows me to pick and choose the things, the pieces of art and pieces of media that I want to have at quick access forever. Say, like, if I could run my own streaming services and put all my favorite stuff on it, these would be the ones I put on there because these are the ones I own, and these are the ones I want to be able to watch at a moment's notice. So something like Your Name, one of the best anime films I have ever seen. One of the best films, period. But to kind of put a label on an anime film, if you're not an anime, you probably won't like this, but beautiful movie. I bought this movie having not seen it, which I don't typically do, but I do sometimes, as you can see. That gave me the ability to watch it at a moment's notice, and I fell in love with this movie. It was just lucky that I watched it and fell in love with it. Now, I know a lot of people watch movies and they will buy movies just to watch them. I'm not typically like that. Like I said, I like to watch things before I see them. This is a lucky coincidence that I bought it to watch it and loved it. This movie, I don't think is on streaming anywhere. I don't think was on streaming if it was for very long. I think it might have been on Netflix for a little bit, but I don't remember it being on there for very long. But for me, ever since I've owned it, I could watch it whenever. And I think that's a big thing for me as well, is the convenience of it. I have other movies behind me that I bought with the intention of watching again and just didn't for a good amount of time. Predator, good example. After the new Prey movie happened, I wanted to rewatch Predator. And lo and behold, I owned it already. And going off of the Predator thing, because I owned it on disc, the quality was better. And that's another big reason why now I collect, as opposed to before. It wasn't a big reason, but now as we're getting more into the 4K world, something like The Dark Knight, a movie that's pretty accessible. This has pretty much been on streaming. I can't remember the time this wasn't streaming and this wasn't readily available to watch somewhere else, but the 4K gives me that much better picture and sound quality. And if you're a big movie fan or a sound buff or whatever, and you really want to hear the best, you see the best, you really want to make your TV work a little, then buying it on disc is the only way to really do that. Because streaming, and I don't really want to get into the technical nitty-gritty numbers game here, but say you're watching a 4K stream, the 4K stream is only as good as like a DVD is. Sometimes it's a little better, sometimes it can get close to a Blu-ray, but a 4K stream will never, I don't think ever, with the amount of data that it has to process, will get as close to being as crystal clear and sound as good as a 4K disc. It will never happen. So that's one of the advantages. It's one of the pros of it. Another one is the shareability. Netflix has brought this discussion up. I don't know if people remember, but earlier this year, Netflix was toying with the idea of getting rid of password sharing. Well, obviously, they never let password sharing, but they know people do it, and they're trying to get rid of it completely. So where you can't share passwords with different households, with your friends, with family that live far away, whatever. But no one's saying I can't share my copy of Bad Times at the El Royale. I'm not buying the rights to watch Netflix. I'm buying a copy of this, and this is my copy to do with it what I want. Obviously, I can't really distribute it to sell money or whatever, but letting a friend borrow it is far from doing something like that. Bad Times at the El Royale, I picked an example because this isn't a very popular movie. Most people who have seen it really like it, and it's great. The movie's great, and being able to share that experience with somebody is super easy because I just have it here. Now, the example I'm talking about, I was with the person, and I watched it with them, which was great, but I also have the ability to just give this to somebody and let them watch it on their own, and be like, hey, watch this, even if you can't find it anywhere, it doesn't matter. A new issue that's come up recently with how shaky a lot of the streaming services are recently, with Netflix dropping in stock, and everything seems kind of up in air. A recent thing I've really liked to do, whenever a film is created for a streaming service, and it comes out on physical, a film that I like. Obviously, if a movie like, I don't know, pick any one of the not so great, that's putting it nicely, Adam Sandler movies on Netflix, they came out, probably wouldn't get those. Something like Marriage Story comes out on Criterion. I'm gonna get this. Obviously, it's right here in my hands. I love this movie. It was one of my favorite movies the year it came out. Beautiful, heart-wrenching movie. But say I don't want Netflix anymore, say Netflix really starts going down, and they get rid of stuff, they cancel a bunch of stuff, and I get ticked off by them, I can always have my Marriage Story here. And that's a really good thing. Zack Snyder's Justice League is another great example of that, where, say, HBO Max goes down, that's a movie that was created for that. I always have it. I'm always able to watch it whenever I want. Now, I've shown you nothing but movies here, and pretty much because it's right behind me and might be the reason you're here. But like I said before, I do it with video games as well. There's not as many pros to owning a physical version of a video game as there are to a movie. The quality that you download is going to be the same as the quality you get on the disc or card or whatever. Honestly, the accessibility argument swings the other way, because having stuff downloaded digitally, it's way easier to carry around. Say you have 20 games downloaded on your Switch, you could easily just take your Switch with you, or if you have 20 games on a cart, very hard to take around 20 carts. They're very small, they're very easy to lose, and if you bring the boxes, that's a lot of space taken out. Biggest argument for me when it comes to collecting physically for video games is having them forever. Now, obviously, when you buy something digitally, you'll have it forever, but it's the chance to have it forever regardless. If you get what I mean, something like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This game came out, people really liked it. It came out in the movie, I love the movie as well. This eventually, like Ubisoft lost licenses, whatever, there was problems, they got taken off the storefront. And then there was a lot of problems getting it back. For years and years, people wanted this game again, and people weren't able to play it because they'd heard about it after the game had already gone off of storefronts. And, you know, people could only keep their copies digitally on the console they had it on. They couldn't sign it up. But, like, my copy of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on Switch, I'll always have for my Switch, and I'll always be able to just put it in the Switch and play. And I think that's a really important thing nowadays, where games, entire systems are starting to lose their storefronts, and we're getting to the times where soon enough the 360 and the PS3 will eventually lose their connectivity to their servers, and you can't buy games on them anymore. So a game like that, which, say, it was still on the storefront, it was still on the 360 and PS3 storefront, it wouldn't matter for much longer, and you couldn't send it up anyway. So those are the reasons why I do this. You see behind me, there's a lot of reasons. You can go watch my video on my entire Blu-ray collection if you're curious about hearing about all of these and little stories and whatnot. And I don't know, if you're curious about hearing me talk about my collections of different consoles, I could do that as well, but I'm not going to do it if no one's going to watch it. So please let me know if you guys are curious about that. And that'll about do it for me. As always, thank you so very much for watching, and like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.